Chapter 1: Birth and the Awakening of Power. The wind moved silently across the Vindhya mountains, weaving through dense forests like a whisper of destiny. Leaves trembled under its touch, and the sky shimmered in hues of purple and silver. On this night, the stars burned brighter, hung lower. The world was waiting for something divine to awaken. Anjana, once a celestial Apsara, now a mortal under penance, sat in deep meditation inside her cave. Her body was still, her breath quiet. For years she had prayed to the gods, seeking redemption, whispering her longing into the ether. That longing stirred the heart of Vayu, the god of wind. And then it happened. Vayu, unseen and gentle, entered her being like a breath of eternity. There was no sound, no form, only a sacred breeze. Within her womb, a divine spark was lit, not of man or beast, but of spirit and storm. The days passed. The wind never left her. Flowers bloomed endlessly around her cave, never withering. Animals of the jungle stood silent before her home, as if guarding the secret they sensed. And one morning, the mountains quaked, not from thunder but from something deeper, a pulse of the universe itself. Anjana, eyes wide with tears, cradled her newborn in her arms. He was a child, yes, but his eyes glowed with the light of galaxies. A golden mark shone on his forehead. His tail curled with strength. His ears were shaped like the wings of elephants. His cry rivaled the wind. Hanuman was born. Even as an infant he was extraordinary. One morning, spotting the rising sun, he mistook it for a ripe fruit. With a giggle and a bound, he soared into the sky to seize it. Gods panicked. Surya, the sun god, flinched in fear. Hanuman flew higher, faster, blazing toward the sun itself. Indra, king of the gods, hurled his thunderbolt in desperation. Struck, Hanuman plummeted to earth like a fallen comet. Silence followed. No breath, no motion. And then, the wind stopped. Vayu, grieving for his son, withdrew from the world. Or vanished. None could breathe. Life itself began to fade. The gods trembled. They gathered. They saw their error. To restore balance, they not only revived Hanuman, they blessed him. Brahma granted him immunity to all evil spells. Shiva bestowed upon him unfailing courage. Surya, in remorse, offered divine wisdom. Indra, ashamed, declared that no weapon would ever harm his body again. Vayu, proud and loving, gave him unmatched speed, the gift of the wind. Hanuman grew quickly. Mighty, fearless, and playful, he challenged everything. He pulled up trees, moved boulders, interrupted the sages in meditation. His strength had no limit, his spirit no fear. At last, an ancient rishi placed a gentle finger on his brow. Forget your strength for now. Sleep within yourself. Serve. And when the time is right, awaken. And so his power slept. Hanuman became like any other monkey. Mischievous, cheerful, humble. But the sky still watched him. The trees still bowed in his presence. He did not yet know that destiny would soon lead him to a prince. A bond would form, and the meaning of loyalty would be written in his name. Chapter 2: Devotion to Rama. The forest held its breath. Leaves rustled softly, not with wind, but with reverence. Something ancient stirred beneath the canopy, something that knew destiny was once again moving across the earth. Hanuman stood beside his king, Sugriva, the exiled monkey monarch who lived in hiding along the shores of Lake Pampa. Sugriva had been wronged, driven from his throne by his own brother, Vali, and every day he watched the horizon, hoping for a sign, a savior. One morning, as silver mist clung to the lake's surface, Hanuman felt it. a scent on the breeze. Not of man nor of beast, but of Dharma. Two figures approached through the woods. One bore a warrior's stance but radiated peace. The other walked in perfect rhythm beside him, fierce and silent. Rama and Lakshmana had arrived. Hanuman approached them in disguise, taking the form of a humble ascetic. He bowed gently and asked, "Who walks through this sacred forest with such quiet grace?" Rama met his gaze. For a moment no words were needed. Their souls recognized each other. Hanuman bowed deeper. In that instant he knew. This was no ordinary prince. This was the one his strength had been waiting for. The one his soul was made to serve. Rama smiled. "We are not alone anymore," he said softly. A friendship was forged between Rama and Sugriva. In return for Rama's aid in reclaiming his kingdom, Sugriva promised help in Rama's quest to find his wife Sita, stolen away by the demon king Ravana. Hanuman, now Rama's most devoted servant, helped defeat Vali. Sugriva was restored. But joy did not last, for news came that Sita had been seen, far to the south beyond the sea, in the golden fortress of Lanka. Rama's eyes grew dark with grief. Lakshmana clenched his fists. And Hanuman stood still, tall and resolute. "I will go," he said. "No matter where she is hidden, on earth, in sky, or under ocean, I will find her." The sea stood before them like a final wall. No boat could survive the crossing. No army could march through water. But Hanuman did not hesitate. Rama removed his ring and placed it in Hanuman's palm. "Give her this," he said. "This is my heart." Hanuman pressed it to his chest, then closed his eyes and breathed deep. His body grew massive, mountain-like. With a single leap, he soared into the sky, crossing the sea in a blaze of wind and will. He landed in Lanka like a shadow. Unseen, he crept through gardens, over towers, into chambers. In a grove shaded by sorrow and guarded by demons, he found her, Sita. She sat alone, thin with grief but radiant as the moon. Her eyes were closed, murmuring Rama's name. Hanuman knelt beside her and spoke like a prayer. "Sita, Rama awaits." She looked up. In her eyes, recognition, disbelief, tears. He gave her the ring. She clutched it to her heart as if it were life itself. But his mission was not yet done. Spotted by Ravana's guards, Hanuman was dragged to the demon king's court. Ravana snarled, his many heads writhing in fury. "Who are you to defy me?" Hanuman's voice echoed like thunder. "I am the servant of Rama. That is my name, my title, and my glory." They set his tail on fire as punishment. Hanuman laughed. The fire became his weapon. With flames trailing behind him, he leapt from rooftop to rooftop, setting Lanka ablaze. The golden city howled with smoke and fear. Ravana watched as towers fell and shadows danced across the flames. Then, Hanuman soared back across the sea. When he returned, Rama stood waiting. Hanuman placed the ring back into Rama's hands. "She waits for you," he said. And Rama wept, not from sorrow but from love. Hanuman bowed low. "I have simply returned what was yours." And the wind whispered through the trees. Chapter 3: War and Victory. The sea no longer roared with defiance. Its waves now parted for destiny. On one side stood Rama, the exiled prince with the heart of a god. On the other, across the ocean, sat Ravana, the demon king of Lanka, his golden city wrapped in arrogance and dark magic. And between them a bridge had begun, of stone, of faith, and of purpose. Hanuman, ever watchful, was among the first to place the stones. But these were not ordinary rocks. As he and the monkey warriors engraved Rama's name into each one, the sea held them aloft. The bridge rose not just by strength, but by devotion. The armies of monkeys and bears crossed. Their hearts thundered louder than their feet. On their faces, no fear, for they knew that Rama walked with them, and Hanuman flew above them like the breath of God. Lanka was no longer safe. Ravana, seated on his jeweled throne, scowled. He sent forth his champions, mighty demons, masters of illusion and death. But for each one, Hanuman had an answer. He became an army in himself, leaping across ramparts, tearing down towers, scattering fear like seeds on the wind. Arrows bounced off him. Swords broke against his skin. His battle cry echoed through the city like a prophecy. But the war demanded more. Lakshmana, Rama's brother, fell, struck by the sorcery of Indrajit, Ravana's son. His breathing slowed. His body turned pale. The camp stilled in horror. The only hope was an herb, hidden high on the slopes of the Himalayas. Sanjeevani, the breath giver. No one could reach it in time. No one but Hanuman. With a roar that shook the stars, he launched into the sky. Mountains flashed beneath him. Thunder followed his flight. But when he found the mountain, the herbs all looked alike. And time was fading. Hanuman made a choice. He wrapped his arms around the entire mountaintop and tore it from the earth. Carrying it in his hands like an offering, he returned before the final breath fell from Lakshmana's lips. The scent of Sanjeevani filled the air. Lakshmana stirred. Rama embraced his brother and looked at Hanuman with tears in his eyes. "You did not bring a cure. You brought back life itself." But the war was not yet over. The final battle came. Rama and Ravana faced each other, two titans of fate. Lightning cracked across the sky as their weapons clashed. The world held its breath. Gods watched from the heavens. Hanuman stood ready, guarding Rama's flank, his body marked with battle, but his gaze steady. Rama called upon the divine. His bow glowed with light. One arrow, forged from truth and fire, flew straight and sure. It struck Ravana in the heart. The demon king fell. Lanka trembled. Sita was freed. But freedom did not bring celebration. She stood before Rama unsure. Her eyes were hollow with pain. Rama, bound by Dharma, asked her to prove her purity. The fire blazed. Without a word, Sita stepped into it. And the flames bowed to her. She emerged untouched. Rama lowered his head, not in shame but in surrender. Love had survived even fire. The war was over. Ayodhya waited. The exiled prince would return as king. The roads were bathed in petals. Bells rang. Voices soared in joy. But Hanuman, he stood in the back in silence. When Rama sat upon the throne, he searched the crowd. Not for riches, not for praise, but for one face. He saw Hanuman, quiet as always, standing in the shadow of a pillar, avoiding glory. He beckoned him forward. Before the entire court, Rama rose from his throne, stepped down, and embraced Hanuman. "Without you," Rama said, "this victory would be ash." The hall stood in silence. A minister asked, "What reward shall we give Hanuman?" Rama smiled. "No reward is worthy. He is not a servant. He is devotion itself." Hanuman bowed. "Let me serve you forever," he whispered. Chapter 4. Eternal Service and Silence. Ayodhya had never shone brighter. The city of kings welcomed its prince, Rama, with garlands and song. Streets were swept clean by flower petals. Women lit lamps in their courtyards. Bells rang like laughter from heaven. The exile was over, and the kingdom had awakened from a long slumber. But not every heart sought celebration. Hanuman walked among the shadows. He did not wear jewels. He did not ride chariots. While others bathed in praise, he looked only to Rama, his lord, his friend, his reason. At the coronation, Rama sat on the throne of gold. Beside him, Sita radiant in royal grace. Lakshmana stood proud. The crowd chanted their names. And in the corner, with dust on his feet and humility in his eyes, stood Hanuman. Rama saw him. He rose from the throne and walked through the court. Silence fell as he approached Hanuman. Without a word, he took off his own royal necklace, a chain of pearls set with the finest gems, and placed it around Hanuman's neck. "No gift equals your love," Rama said. Hanuman's eyes welled. He bowed low, then slowly took the necklace and broke it in his hands. Pearls scattered across the marble floor. Gasps rose in the court. But Hanuman explained quietly, "If it does not contain Rama's name, it has no value to me." A courtier mocking asked, "Then does your heart contain Rama's name?" Without hesitation, Hanuman tore open his chest, and inside, there was light. There was the name Rama written across his heart, beating in flame and devotion. The court fell to its knees. After that day, Hanuman did not remain in the palace. He returned to the forests, to the quiet paths, to the places where prayers still whispered his name without knowing who heard. When evil rose, it was scattered by a sudden wind. When a child prayed alone, a shadow touched their head in comfort. When the name of Rama was spoken with love, the leaves stirred. Hanuman was there. But time passed as time always does. The moment came when Rama, his work complete, prepared to leave the world. The Sarayu River flowed gently, waiting to carry the divine prince back to the heavens. Sita had already gone. Lakshmana had crossed the threshold of sacrifice. And Rama turned to Hanuman one last time. "Come with me," Rama said. "Heaven awaits you." Hanuman knelt. "No," he whispered. "As long as your name is spoken on earth, let me stay. Let me serve. Let me listen to the sound of your story in the mouths of children. That will be my heaven." Rama smiled and vanished into light. Hanuman stayed behind. To this day he walks unseen, watching, guarding, serving. Some say he sits in mountain caves, lost in Rama's name. Some say he appears when hearts are pure. But one truth remains eternal. As long as Rama's story is told, Hanuman will never leave.